All right, so here we are in our final explainer for this series. We're going to wrap things up by asking the really big question. What is this whole guide truly about? We're going to see how it's less about rules and much more about building a bridge for learners. A bridge to recognition, to opportunity, and really to a better future. So let's dive in. Okay, so after all the talk about the different steps and tools, what's the big idea here? I mean, if we stripped everything else away, what's the one fundamental thing this guide is trying to change in the world of adult education?
Well, to answer that, we've got to start with the core challenge. And it's a challenge that, let's be honest, every non-formal educator knows all too well.
We've all seen it happen. A learner makes these incredible strides, right? They gain new skills, their confidence just shoots up, they get a whole new outlook on things. But then, when they try to use that progress to get a job or maybe apply for another course, it's like it never happened. Their learning just becomes invisible because the formal world doesn't really have a way to see it or understand it.
And that's exactly where this guide steps in with a really powerful solution. It's not about building more walls or creating new barriers. It's all about building a bridge.
I think this quote from the guide's introduction just says it all. The whole point is to forge that connection. A connection between the amazing work happening in non-formal education and the worlds of employment and formal learning. It's about making sure that all that incredible work educators do is finally seen and valued for what it is.
And the guide tackles a common fear head-on, which is so important. So let's be super clear about what this is and what it isn't. It is about creating a common language so learning becomes more visible. It is a tool that values your expertise, but it is absolutely not a rigid rulebook. It's not here to add a bunch of bureaucracy or to strip away those learner-centered values that are the absolute heart and soul of non-formal education.
And this brings us to a key term, alignment. Now, it's really important to get this right. Alignment does not mean you're suddenly expected to award official university credits. Not at all. It simply means describing your course using shared concepts, like learning outcomes and workload, so that other people can actually understand its level and its scope. Think of it more like translation, not transformation.
And this analogy from the guide is just brilliant. I love this. Imagine you have a fantastic recipe. That's your course. This process is just about writing it down on a standard recipe card. The ingredients, the steps, the amazing final result, it's all still yours. You're not changing your dish one bit. You're just making it so that any other chef, whether that's an employer or another school, can understand it.
So how does this all work in the real world? The guide doesn't just give you a philosophy. It provides a really clear 6-step roadmap for educators to follow.
Yeah, the whole process is broken down into a practical 6-step journey, and you can see it starts exactly where it should, with your learners.
That first step is just so crucial, isn't it? It grounds everything in the real needs of the people you're serving. And from there, it just moves so logically through defining the level, clarifying the outcomes, estimating the workload, assessing what's been learned, and finally, certifying that achievement. It's a complete cycle that always keeps the learner at its heart.
And throughout that entire journey, the guide emphasizes this point again and again. This is not some paint-by-numbers system. It's a framework that completely relies on your expertise. You're the one who knows your learners best, and it's your professional judgment that makes this whole thing meaningful, not mechanical.
Okay, so we've covered the why and the how. But what does this actually mean in the real world? What's the tangible impact of putting this all into practice?
Well, the benefits are very real and they're powerful. For employers, it means more transparency. For learners, it means clearer recognition, which is huge for building confidence. It creates real, actual pathways for them to progress to other opportunities. It basically turns their learning into a key that can unlock new doors. And you're not expected to do this alone or start from a blank page or anything. The guide comes with the NFAE toolkit, which is this fantastic collection of ready-to-use templates and worksheets for everything, from writing learning outcomes to designing a certificate. It makes the whole process so much more practical and accessible right from day one.
One of the most interesting findings from the pilot projects was the effect this had on the educators themselves. A lot of them found that by going through these steps, they actually discovered a new language to articulate the incredible value of what they were already doing. It helped them see their own impact even more clearly.
And this isn't about setting your course in stone and walking away. The guide really champions this mindset of continuous improvement. Using that simple plan, do, check, act model, you can gather feedback and make smart changes, making sure your courses are always evolving and getting better for your learners. So when you put all of these pieces together, you start to realize this is way more than just a methodological guide.
It's actually an invitation to join a movement.
And this quote, wow, it just shows you how profound the impact can be. For a learner, especially someone who's had fewer opportunities, getting a certificate isn't just about a piece of paper. It is a powerful, tangible symbol of their hard work, of their achievement. For some people, it's the very first formal recognition they've ever received.
So ultimately, that's what it comes down to. This isn't bureaucracy. It's about giving the incredible work of non-formal education a megaphone, a common language so its value can finally be seen and understood and celebrated by everyone.
And that brings us right back to where we started, with the image of a bridge. This guide gives you the blueprint, it gives you the tools, but bridges are built by people. So the final question is really for you. How will you help build that bridge for your learners so their achievements finally get the recognition they truly deserve?